Yo, morning everybody. Sorry, it's been a busy week. Haven't really been able to get a video out. But I got time today. So anyway, story time. Basically, give y'all a quick little story of what happened on Sunday, and then kind of tell you my thoughts. So it was Sunday afternoon, probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 p.m. and we get a weather alert that says like a hailstorm's coming through, right? And the hail that was coming through was supposed to be golf ball size, so pretty big, right? And I live in an apartment complex, so I don't really have like a garage or anything like that. So we kind of looked at the radar, and I was like, well, this is me and my roommate, we were like, well, it looks like it's gonna go north of us just enough, we'll barely miss it. Well, then like all of a sudden it all changed in like an instant. And then all of a sudden it looked like it was gonna come right over us, right? So we were like, oh geez, what do we do? And so we kind of made this game plan decision, like, well, let's go south and we'll dodge the storm, because we live right by the highway. So just jump on the highway, go south a ton, right? Now, mind you, normally I wouldn't do anything because it's like, it feels like I'm just playing a game that I wouldn't win necessarily. So normally I do nothing, but for some reason I was like, you know what, this is a great idea. Let's go. Like something inside of me was telling me to go. So I was like, all right, let's go. Even though it was kind of conflicting at another level, right? So we jump on the highway, and like instead of going south, I'm like, aha, you know, to get on the highway, I got to do this little U-turn thing, and it's at an underpass or whatever, right? So I was like, well, if I just do the U-turn thing, I'll be under the underpass, and I can just dodge the storm there, and life is pretty good, right? And I'm literally like 1 minute away from my apartment, so it's like no big deal to get back home, whatever, right? Well, I go to that U-turn, and I go to the underpass. Well, it turns out that my roommate gets in there, and then there's no more room because everybody else is doing the exact same thing, so I'm kind of the odd man out. So I'm like, well, crap, what do I do? So I was like, well, there was another underpass like on the feeder road right behind me. So I just go in reverse, and I literally go the wrong direction on the feeder road of the highway. And I find this little overpass, and I get under there, and I'm like, okay, well, let me kind of nuzzle in so that if somebody else wants to jump in here, you know, they can fit too. Because a lot of cars doing the same thing or whatever, right? Well, as I did that, I roll over this like huge mud pit or whatever, because like where the highway drains off, you know, it's just like pouring water or something, this huge mud pit. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, ah, crap, I think I just got my truck stuck in the mud, like I'm pretty sure or whatever, right? So about 5-10 minutes pass, I'm watching the hail come down, hail gets pretty gnarly or whatever, and then it stops, but luckily my truck was under the thing. So now it's time for me to leave. So I put my truck in reverse, and you guessed it, I was stuck in the mud. I was like, what are the odds or whatever? So there's this guy who was under there with me, and he was like, what's up, man? Like, looks like you're stuck, I can probably help you out. So he had a 4x4 Silverado truck or whatever, pretty new, pretty nice. But we didn't have any real like chains or anything like that. So we only had these nylon straps or whatever. So we basically MacGyver up this nylon strap system from his truck to my truck. And we give it a couple tugs, give it a couple pulls, and we're getting nothing. Next thing you know, the strap breaks or whatever, right? And he's like, well, you know, there's not much I can do here. And I was like, well, man, it's all good. I appreciate your effort, blah, blah, blah. So I go, so then he's starting to get stuck or whatever, right? So I'm like, oh, man. So I get behind his truck, and mind you, I'm in like my sweatpants and like some Sperry shoes with no traction or whatever. I'm standing in muddy, super muddy grass or whatever. And I'm like, well, let me push you. So I go to push this guy out, and I get him out. As soon as he gets out, like his tires just kick up a crap ton of mud and gets all over me, right? So now I'm covered with mud. You know, all over, and but the good thing was we got him out, because I would have felt really bad if I got him stuck, quote quote, because, you know, he was trying to help me or whatever, right? So now I'm like, well, what do? I was like, well, I literally kind of had like a moment where, like, before I figured out what to do, I was like, you know, God, I was like, there's a reason for everything, and I know that I'm calling this experience to me. I just don't know what it is. What is it? You know, I was like, because our true master knows he calls all his experiences to him to learn, or to experience, or to be there, or, you know, there's some takeaway, right? So I'm like, what is it? So I call AAA, because actually I have it, and right when I'm making that phone call, this other guy rolls up to me, and he's like, hey man, like I saw you were stuck, so he's like, let me help you out, man. Like, actually, he said he saw I was stuck earlier, and so he looped back around. So I was like, what are the odds? Awesome. So this guy's coming to help me up, and he's like, yeah, I do this all the time. So he's got like chains, and he got a Ram Rebel truck with like the little chain hooks on the bumper or something. And this guy was ready to go. He had gloves and boxes and tools, like everything. He's like, all right, bud, we can pull you out, no problem. Well, as we're sitting there, like literally this other car rolls up. It's like a little Honda or something like that, and it runs out of gas. And then we look over, it's these two girls. They're probably like 16, 18, something like that. And the girl's like, we ran out of gas. What do we do? What do we do? Like, they have no idea what to do, right? So, so I was talking to him. I was like, well, let's see. Well, then right when I started talking to him, like this cop rolled up behind him, and the girl looks at me and she like freaks out. And I'm like, what's the matter? She's like, I don't have a license. I don't have a license. And I was like, well, does your friend have a license? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, y'all switch. I'll go talk to the cop. I'll distract him, right? So I go to the cop, distract him a little bit. The girls do a hot switch or whatever. It was really funny. And then like I think it went unnoticed, because then it was like, okay, well, what do we do? So then me and the cop and the other guy like basically helped push the vehicle to the side of the road so that the girls are, are kind of out of the way or whatever, right? So the girls are out of the way. Then the truck guy tows me out or whatever, pulls me out of the thing, and then the guy who also helped me like called his wife to get the girls to get him gas, because I guess he lived right around the corner. So anyway, all these things happened, and the girls were okay, I was okay. The guy who was helping helped everybody, and the cop was actually pretty cool too and helped everybody as well. So it was like this beautiful moment in humanity where like all these different types of people were all helping each other just get things done, so it was pretty cool to experience something like that, right? And so I was pretty happy. But I was like, when I had that moment of just like, what am I, like, why am I here? Why am I experiencing this experience? I know there's a reason for it. Well, if I had to be honest, I really think it was to help those girls not get in trouble, number one, and number two, just get them to safety or whatever, right? Because like, what are the odds that these girls like literally run out of gas, like right where I'm having this like pretty hilarious kind of problem or whatever, right? So anyway, it was cool, right? And like, I'm pretty confident that was the reason I was there. So, it was like I was watching it unfold in real time. Like, why am I here? What am I doing with these people? Like, why did I even make this decision to come out in a hailstorm? That doesn't make any sense. What was I thinking? Nothing makes sense. Well, now I can look back on it and I was like, okay, I think I know what I was doing, and all is good. And it was also really fun. It was just hilarious too, like just experiencing the whole thing, because it was just like one thing after another, and it was last second, and yeah, I don't know, it was just a funny little experience. So anyway, like I said, I think the moral of that story is, a master calls all experiences to himself for a reason, and if you seek and search for that reason, like I did in this example, you'll find it, you'll come across it, and it's pretty cool, right? So anyway, that's all I got. So hope y'all are having a good week, and hopefully talk tomorrow.